What's good, folks? It's KnightmareFrame out with a new Warframe video. I'll be here guiding you through to what you need to become a true and ultimate Eidolon hunter or huntress. There's something about the word huntress that sounds super hot. Ooh, naughty thoughts.
Begone, demons!
For those who do not want any spoilers, meaning if you have not completed your second dream, War Within, and S.A.X sigil quests, get out before you get drop-kicked. This is the second episode of the Ultimate Eidolon Hunting Guide. In this episode, we'll be talking about amps. If you've missed out on episode 1, go ahead and watch that. It's all about focus. Now, before you get into Eidolon hunts, you need yourself an amp, since it's going to be doing the most DPS to the Eidolons. Besides the main DPS, the other 3 members will be spending most of their time in their operator. And huge spoilers for this, once you've completed War Within and S.A.X sigils, start getting yourself acquainted with the Quills Syndicate for the first time in VIDS. Upon doing so, you will immediately obtain your first amp. It's going to be a starter amp, also known as the moat amp. This is definitely not the amp you'll be using for Eidolons. Amps are modular weapons used by your operator. It helps concentrate their void energy so that our operator can deal void damage. Void damage is the only way we can deal damage to the Eidolon shields, and amps are the only weapons in the game that cannot be modded. An amp is consisted of 3 parts: the prism, the scaffold, and the brace. All 3 parts need to be crafted individually and combined to make the initial amp, which you then build, level, guild, and level again. Just like any modular weapon, you can only get the final and best stats after guilding them. Let's understand the parts that go into making a complete amp. First, the prism is the head of the amp, the primary fire, and also where you can earn mastery rank XP from. Second, you have the scaffold. It's the secondary fire mode, also the strongest fire mode, which will be used 100% of the time in Eidolon hunts. And lastly, the brace. This determines your damage output from crits, crit multipliers, and status chance. And I'm sure some of you heard of people talking about 223, 323, or X27 and all that. They're talking about the tier combinations, since each amp part is split into tiers. The higher you rank up in the Quills and Voxelaris, yes, another spoiler, the better and unique amp parts are available to you. Little Duck from Fortuna is associated with the Quills, so just like Onko and Cetus, she sells relatively the same items but Fortuna specific. Now, you can go around building different variants of amps to test and experiment with, but you're going to need 2 specific combinations to make the optimal Eidolon hunting amp, and these are the X23 and the X27. And truth be told, the meta amps combinations are meta for a reason, as they will help you do the most damage. Before we get into those combinations, let me explain what the X means in those amp combinations. The X refers to any prism, meaning it does not matter what prism you pick. It's all down to your personal preference, as the prisms will never be the one doing any damage, since you'll always be using your secondary fire mode. And the 2 refers to the tier 2 scaffold, the Shraksun scaffold. It's the best fire mode as it's able to hit multiple parts of the Eidolon and crits, since its initial attack explodes on impact and does some splash damage, which can also go through the Eidolon, hitting it multiple times. And since this fire mode explodes on impact, it will also do self-damage, so careful. And positioning is key. And lastly, the 3 or the 7, which refers to the tier 3 brace from Cool Onko and the tier 7 brace from Little Duck. They both are good to increase crits for your amp, since critting is key when DPSing the Eidolon shields. But the tier 3 brace also gives you decent status chance, which works very well with certain arcanes. The tier 7 brace is substantially better, but go for it if you have the required standing for Little Duck. Now, there are 4 ways to increase the damage output of your amps. 1. Madurai Void Strike charges. Refer to episode 1 for more information. 2. Unairu Wisps. It's an Unairu active way. This is when the main DPS of the hunt Void Blasts the Eidolon to spawn Wisps, which will increase the operator's damage by 100% for the next 12 seconds, if it's max rank. Also, make sure your squad mates do not have Fetch or Vacuum equipped on their sentinels and companions, because you do not want to be sucking in all the wisps for yourself and not have the rest of the team gain the damage increase. Remember, sharing is caring. 3. Arcanes. There are 3 different arcanes to increase the DPS of your amps: Virtuous Strike, Virtuous Fury, and Virtuous Shadow. If you're fairly new to Eidolons, I suggest to not go for Virtuous Shadow just yet, as it is quite advanced. Even I messed up trying to proc this arcane. So stick with Virtuous Fury and Strike. If you're using the tier 3 brace, I recommend Virtuous Fury. And if you're using the tier 7 brace, go for Virtuous Strike. 4. Volt Shields. Volt Shields are the crucial and the most consistent damage multiplier in Eidolon hunts, granting you 50% electricity damage and 200% critical damage multiplier. The crit damage does not stack with the additional shields, however, the electricity damage will. When damaging the Eidolon shields, try your best to always pick up Unairu Wisps and shoot through the Volt's shields. And when shooting, try to aim and shoot in between the knee and the leg area. When the Shraksun Scaffold hits, it will be able to hit multiple times, which in turn will deal more damage to the shields. My current amp is the 627, which is comprised of the Lega Prism, Shraksun Scaffold, and Certus Brace, offering me the best stats. Alright, so this is it for this video, but no worries, I will get into more detail on the next episode, so stay tuned. For now, that's all I have for you in terms of amps. So if you found this video helpful and informative, feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe. I do stream Eidolon hunts here and there on my Twitch. Do check me out on twitch.tv/KnightmareFrame. Alright, thanks for watching, and as always, peace.